The mission of the California Republic Leadership Academy is to develop the next generation of our community, state, and country's leaders.
Here at CRLA, we definitely have a focus on our virtue education. We believe that virtue is not a behavior, but it is founded on valuing what is right.
What's really always been my philosophy of teaching, but especially here at a classical school, is see the good, the true, and the beautiful in every single subject. Whether it's a subject that's your favorite or maybe you don't love it as much, there is something true, good, beautiful, and valuable in it.
Most prospective families don't really understand what is classical education.
Classical education, we believe, is just a holistic, well-rounded way of teaching students how to understand the world so that they can be prepared for wherever they end up going.
CRLA isn't afraid to teach virtues, and we are unapologetic in our stand to keep the politics of the day out of our classrooms.
There have been many trends in education and various methodologies and content standards, but classical education is a return to teaching the art of learning.
CRLA has such a great heart to want to raise people to think critically and to think a little bit beyond just academic excellence.
As a classical education school, we believe it's more important to gain wisdom and mastery than to just perform well on a test.
We don't just teach subjects, but we teach our students the art of how to learn. We want our students to engage enthusiastically and love what they're learning in class.
CRLA has really influenced my pedagogy in terms of teaching more for depth of content knowledge as well as for love for learning.
What I like most about CRLA is the curriculum. I just feel like I'm always learning more.
When you tell history, for example, like a story, you can get students to fall in love with the story so that they actually internalize it and it becomes a part of them.
My favorite book that I'm reading in class is like a rover book. I like reading A Magic Tree House.
We're reading Homer. It's a book about ancient Greece.
This helps them not only do better on tests, but it also causes them to be curious to learn on their own.
Our teachers teach subjects like math, art, music, recitation, poetry, science, literature. Those are all part of our core curriculum, and every grade is able to learn those subjects together.
We teach Socratic seminar. Students sit in a circle. It encourages them to have a civil dialogue where sometimes maybe they disagree with one another. They're able to communicate with each other in a civil way.
A lot of the times in Western society, we're being taught what virtues are, but I think people who actually want to embody them, from that you see a unique character from the teachers that they are actually passionate about pursuing a virtue-based education. They're actually excited to see how students can engage with those things, not only in the classroom, but amongst their peers themselves too.
We care very deeply for the mind, heart, and soul of each of our students here.
The teachers here, they want you to learn. They want to help you.
I try to be an example to the students just in the little day-to-day things, whether it's just greeting them at the door and looking them in the eye, picking up trash off the floor, having positive interactions with other staff members.
We teach looking at the student as a whole child. We focus on their academic progress, their social emotional progress, as well as their behavior.
CRLA's mission is really to create future leaders. There's a focus on servant leadership. If you look back to the leaders that founded our country, they were educated in a very specific way, and that is what classical tries to emulate.
Teaching servant leadership is a huge part of our curriculum. We teach servant leadership in everything we do. It's in our academics and it's in just our day-to-day life as a school.
We do the Leader in Me program. There's a curriculum that we follow and we go through different goals that the students have. For example, one is put first things first. So teaching students to prioritize and how that's a big part of being a leader.
Leadership skills are not something that's traditionally taught in every public school or even private school, and it's something that I really appreciate about CRLA.
Back to your sit spots. Now, if you get tagged by...
Our virtues work on the heart of being a servant leader, getting out and serving in the community and our own schools. When we were working on kindness, we made bouquets for senior citizens. When we're working on responsibility, students cleaned up the recess yard before a new group came in. When working on respect, they made thank you cards for first responders.
They're not afraid to get their hands dirty and roll up their sleeves and do the work. They really value and understand the role of a civic discourse in society.
We are a school that values parent involvement. We also value training and education for our staff and our parents as well.
I really wanted to help my son unleash his potential. He was really yearning for a more rigorous yet comprehensive curriculum, and I knew that classical education was that learning environment that was going to allow him to thrive.
My child is really curious. I love that CRLA has helped him build skills to improve and embrace that curiosity, asking who, what, where, why in every topic area.
I wanted him to be surrounded by merit every day, where he was allowed to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and he was being taught by teachers that are encouraged to be more innovative.
Seeing the world differently, he wants to be a part of the world around him more than he did before, because he sees that he has a place in it.
We are actively looking for ways to grow genuine and natural leaders to serve our communities and our state.
We're bringing kids back into the public education system. Families that have already chosen to opt out of the public education system are finding a home at CRLA.
CRLA has continued to excel in the realm of academics.
In our first year of operation here in Capistrano, our CAPS scores were the highest among all classical education charter schools in California and higher than most schools like ours across the state of California.
We've noticed the curriculum being competitive, not only in the realm of the local academics, but what does education look like across the world today? What does it look like in order to shape people so that when they enter into the young adult lifestyle, they're not behind, but they're already ahead?
It's just such a fun environment with my friends.
The school has very fun activities, like the holiday parties and the fall fest. It's really fun.
The academics are excellent. I love to see the uniforms, the lack of screens, just kids being friends with kids.
So thankful as a parent that we found CRLA for our son.
I see students really coming alive and loving learning.
Our vision is to ensure that students can access a virtuous leadership classical education in every community across Orange County.